getting a new player's handbook. You may have heard about it, or even watched the hour-long video where they discussed it in great detail. However, if you are like me, that video was probably too long and you may have tuned out as ADHD took hold and you played video games instead. Well, here's a hopefully quicker summary of everything you need to know about the PHB that's coming here soon. The new Player's Handbook will be the largest, most comprehensive one yet. Rebuilt from the ground up with new options, refined rules, and a restructured design for easier referencing at the table. This revision aims to make character creation more accessible for new players, while also providing depth and customization options for experienced ones. Is that the truth? Well, that remains to be seen.
Now, the new rules glossary is a centralized piece where all the rules are clearly defined. The glossary is designed to provide a quick and easy way for players to look up rules, clarify any confusion, and help to ensure a much smoother session on your one day off a week. Some key features from this new rules glossary are going to include clear and concise definitions for game mechanics, clarity and consistency in rules definitions to reduce overall confusion, organization of the rules in a centralized location, and a quick reference guide for players to look up rules during each session. They have also taken a lot of the popular house rules and actually added them to core of the game. For example, drinking a potion is now going to be a bonus action instead of a full action. Think frickin' Bahamut, because really we've mostly just been doing this anyway.
Yeah, that one actually kind of blew my socks off a little bit. Now, the new PHB boasts a massive spell chapter, supposedly spanning over 100 pages and containing close to 400 spells, much like the current iteration, which contains like 360-ish. Many of these are old spells that have been revised, while some are brand new and others are returning from previous books, like Xanathar's and Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. The mages will also find new, non-combat options to enrich social interactions and exploration scenes. The new Player's Handbook also introduces a revamped crafting system, allowing annoying players like me to create unique equipment and items. This system provides a more in-depth and flexible way for players to craft stuff, give them a little more control over the gear that they're using in-game. The crafting rules in the Player's Handbook are limited to simple items, providing a solid foundation for players to start with. However, reportedly, the DM guide will offer broader, more extensive options for crafting, allowing us players to create even more complex and powerful items. To summarize that part up, clear guidelines for crafting simple stuff, more extensive options for crafting in the DMG, greater flexibility and customization overall, and easier to use rules and guidelines for crafting.
Now, the most radically transformed part of D&D character creation in the 2024 Player's Handbook might be the approach to character origins. Backgrounds now offer feats at first level that are intended to be helpful throughout the entire course of an adventure, giving a stronger mechanical presence to something that can often kind of just feel like a role-playing tool. Backgrounds also provide your ability score boosts, which has been revised to be a little more flexible than when it was in an Unearthed Arcana. 3 points that can be distributed evenly or unevenly among an appropriate selection of 3 ability scores that can make backgrounds click with any class. Character species. Yes, you heard that right. Species, not races, are also covered in the new Player's Handbook chapter on character origins, and the art illustrating each species focuses on everyday life rather than heroic adventuring scenes. Some of you might knee-jerk to that, "Oh, that's whole book," or something, but for real, it actually just makes a hell of a lot more sense.
Yeah.
If John Silverquill is a human and Grondor Skull Eater is an orc, they're not different races. They are, in fact, different species. So it feels like a long time coming on that particular change.
Now, the 2024 Player's Handbook is also going to include reportedly 48 subclasses, a moderate increase from the 40 featured in the 2014 edition. The changes are bigger than the numbers might show, however, because while a total of 15 subclasses were previously taken by clerics and wizards alone. Each class has exactly 4 subclasses from the start this time, meaning that clerics and wizards are going to lose some of their player handbook options. Every other class is going to gain some. Subclasses that didn't make the cut will still be compatible alongside the new ones, and they might end up returning in future books. And I'd wager they probably will. Among these 48 subclasses, 3 are entirely new to D&D. The Path of the World Tree Barbarian, which sounds awesome. I'm a barbarian fan myself. The College of Dance Bard, and the Circle of the Sea Druid. 15 others are imported and revised from some of the other books, Tasha's, Xanathar's, etc. With regard to the returning classes from the 2014 edition, I believe Jeremy Crawford stated that 16 of them are heavily overhauled to a degree that makes them essentially new experiences. Each subclass will also have its own artwork, a luxury previously only afforded to a minority, which I think is a really cool change. You get to see what a person of this class might look like. It can help players really just envision their character a little more. It's cool, a cool change.
Although every D&D class will receive its share of changes in the new player's handbook, 2 in particular are being the most extensively reworked. Rangers and monks have been a consistent sore point in D&D 5e, especially sticking to the options available in the 2014 handbook. Redesigns for both have been going through public testing through D&D's Unearthed Arcana playtests. And according to the lead rules designer, Jeremy Crawford, the Ranger and the Monk iterations at the end of the playtest ranked among the highest satisfaction scores in all of the surveys.
What I last saw and remember, they were looking pretty nice.
Crawford stresses that the Rangers are nearly complete rework, promising that pretty much everything about them is new. The Beastmaster and Hunter subclasses carry over names from the 2014 handbook, while Fate Wanderer and Gloomstalker come from Tasha's Cauldron and Xanathar's Guide to Everything.
The new PHB is also to include some 75 feats compared to the 40-ish in the current PHB, which does include epic boon feats. These are feats that are available to players when they reach level 19. They provide you powerful abilities to significantly impact your gameplay. I believe that the DMG had some version of these already, but I think that was more of like the DM... An optional,
Yeah.
The DM can give you these, where I think that these are just like, when you hit this level,
You get it.
you can choose them. Pretty cool. Origin feats that are available to players at level 1, as we said before, and they are tied to your character's background. Revised feats, it's going to include revisited versions of existing feats from the old one, as well as feats from other sources like Xanathar's and Tasha's. New feats entirely. There's going to be brand new stuff that have new abilities and ways to change your playstyle and customize even more.
The new Bastion mechanics in the Dungeon Master's Guide allow players to build and manage their own strongholds, providing a new layer of depth to the game. Here's a quick rundown on some of the new Bastion mechanics. A Bastion is a stronghold that players can build and customize, serving as a base of operations and a symbol of that party's power. Bastions can be built in various locations, such as a castle, a monastery, or even on a frickin' pirate ship. The building process goes through a few steps. 1. Choosing a location. 2. Designing the layout of your bastion. 3. Gathering resources and materials. 4. Constructing the actual bastion. 5. Defending that bastion from potential threats. Once built, players must manage their bastion, making decisions on a whole host of things, such as resource allocation, staffing and personnel, defense and security, expansion and upgrades, diplomacy, relations with neighboring factions. Now, a bastion also provides players with various benefits, which can include stuff like a safe haven, a good place where your party can rest, recover, recuperate, and get back into fighting shape. You can also use it as a resource generation point, providing income and resources for your party. It can provide a source of influence, both political and social. Defense, it's called a bastion. It's gonna be a stronghold to help you defend against your enemies. And overall, it's gonna allow you the ability of customization, being able to personalize and expand your bastion as your party sees fit. Bastions have levels representing their growth and development. As players upgrade and expand their Bastion, it gains levels, unlocking new benefits and features. Players can also assign roles to their Bastion, such as things like a military outpost, a research center, a trade hub, a diplomatic embassy, and even religious sanctuaries.
Basically, your Bastion can have a role to help determine its focus and even its abilities. This Bastion mechanic is going to give players a new sort of immersive experience. It's going to allow them to build and manage a stronghold in a way that has been given rules we didn't have before. It's a system that adds a layer of depth to the game. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it yet, but it's going to enable players to explore different playstyles and strategies. It almost, as I think they mentioned in the hour-long video, it gives a player just a touch of DM taste, because you kind of really have to DM your Bastion a little bit. It's interesting. Players can also gain access to a Bastion once their character hits level 5, so pretty early in your adventure. Once you have one, you can spend Bastion points, you can get magic items with it, you can revive at your Bastion if you die, you can gain advantage on checks when you level up, other weird shit like that.
Now, there are also some miscellaneous changes to a bunch of other things, and even more that we haven't even seen yet, but let's touch on a couple of them. Every existing magic item has been refined, with even more being added to the new handbook. The surprised condition has also changed. The old mechanic for surprised felt pretty one-sided and made some combat really feel extremely inconsequential. Being surprised means you now have disadvantage on initiative rolls. Inspiration has also been changed to heroic inspiration. Now, instead of getting a free reroll on a d20, you can reroll any of your dice. New area of effect type has also been given a name called Emanation. It's a class of spells and abilities that emanate directly from the caster.
And that's about it, really. There are separate videos on each of the classes at the time that this is probably coming out. But as far as the PHB goes, that's about it. I'm pretty excited for it. If you're excited too, let us know in the comments. While you're at it, hit the like button if you like us. Hit dislike if you think we're poopy butts. And I don't know, maybe give us a subscribe or two. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.